Hello students, in today's session let us learn about various laws and protection acts to safeguard the environment. Before moving on to the topic, first let us have a look at what is environment. Environment means surrounding in which the organisms live. It is the sum total of all biotic, that is living, and abiotic, that is non-living factors that surround and potentially influence an organism. Such components of the environment serve as resources, example soil, water, etc., while others act as regulatory factor, example temperature, light, etc. Different components of the environment are interlinked and interdependent. Environment creates favorable conditions for the existence and development of living organisms. In context of human beings, environment can be defined in number of ways. The first one is environment is the sum of all social, economical, biological, physical or chemical factors which constitute the surroundings of man, who is both creator and moulder of his environment. The second definition is environment refers to the sum total of conditions which surround man at a given point in space and time. And the third definition goes like this: environment is the representative of physical components of earth wherein the man is the important factor influencing his environment. Okay. Now, after having the background of what is environment, we will discuss about the environmental laws and protection acts. The important provisions and legislations which are meant for the protection of environment in India are: the first one is constitutional provisions. We should feel proud that India is the first country in the world to have provisions for the protection and conservation of environment in its constitution. The provisions for environmental protection in the constitution were made after the UN Conference on Human Environment, which was held in Stockholm on 5th June 1972. Thereafter, 5th June is celebrated as World Environment Day all over the world. So, the provisions were made through 42nd Amendment of the Constitution in 1976, which are as follows. The first article, Article 48A, this article declares that the state shall endeavour to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and wildlife of the country. The second article, Article 51A, declares that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. Okay. Before 1976, environment was in the state list, but after 42nd Amendment, it was included in concurrent list. And the third article, Article 47, 48 and 51A. According to these articles, it is the duty of state to protect and improve the environment and public health and provide pollution free water, air and environment for the public. Next comes the Environment Protection Act 1986. This act came into force on November 19, 1986, the birth anniversary of our late Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. She took keen interest in environmental issues of the country. This act aimed to protect and improve the quality of environment by central government with coordination of the state government. Now, we will look into the powers and functions of central government. The first point is to set up the standards of quality of air, water or soil for various areas and purposes. The second one is to set up maximum permissible limits of concentration of various environmental pollutants, including noise, for different areas. The third point is to lay procedures and safeguards for handling of hazardous substances. The fourth is to set up prohibition and restrictions on the handling of hazardous substances in different areas. The fifth point is to restrict the areas where industry, operations or processing shall not be allowed. The sixth point is to lay procedures and safeguards for the prevention of accidents which may cause environmental pollution and to provide remedial measures for such accidents. The seventh point states to examine manufacturing processes, materials and substances which are likely to cause environmental pollution. The eighth point states to carry out and sponsoring investigations and research relating to problems of environmental pollution. The ninth point emphasizes on establishment and recognition of environmental laboratories. The 10th point emphasizes on preparation of manuals, codes or guides relating to the prevention, control and abatement of environmental pollution. The 11th point mentions about the collection and dissemination of information in respect of matters relating to environmental pollution. And the last point mentions any such other matters as the central government may deem necessary for the purpose of securing effective implementation of this act. Okay. Under section 3, subclause 3 of this act, the central government may constitute an authority to exercise powers and perform functions as mentioned in the above 12 points. And under section 5 of this act, the central government can issue directions to any person or officer or any authority and empower him or it with close, prohibit or regulate of any industry, its operation or processing, and stop or regulate the supply of electricity or water or any other service. Under section 11 of this act, the central government or any officer on its behalf is empowered to inspect and take samples of air, water, soil or any other substances in a prescribed manner from any factory, premises or other place in order to make the analysis of any sample admissible in the evidence in any legal proceedings. This is all about the powers and functions of central government. Now, we will briefly know what the functions of state government in this aspect are. Under the Environmental Protection Rules 1986, the state pollution control boards have to follow the guidelines provided under Schedule 6. The important guidelines are: advise industries in the state to treat their wastes before they release in the environment, encourage industries to recycle and reuse their wastes, promote implementation of clean technologies by the industries in order to increase fuel efficiency and reduce the generation of environmental pollution, and grant permissions for the discharge of effluents and emissions into the environment only after assessing the assimilative capacity of the receiving atmosphere or water body. The Environment Protection Act 1986 was amended in 1994 to include environmental impact assessment of various developmental projects. These projects have to take clearance from the central government prior to establishment. Hope you have got a good insight on the Environment Protect Act and the powers and functions of central and state government. Until we meet again, bye.